Hello everyone, Jimmy here from Online Guy. Just let me sort out a little bit of housekeeping here before we get started. I'm super pumped for today. It's Friday. You know what that means? It means it's time to break a website down, look at what they're doing, and see see if we can provide them a little bit of advice and help to see how they can improve what they're doing there. So, really excited about today. For those who don't know, it's National Ag Day today. Which obviously means different things to different people. But having a lot of background and history in ag, as you can see behind me, it's actually a very important day, and I think people don't appreciate how much people do, how much people sacrifice in the agricultural industry, especially around this time of year, harvest and seeding, when there's a lot going on. Big hours, big days. All their livelihood. They find out if their livelihood. They get to farm for another year, or if they don't get to farm for another year, that all happens. And unfortunately, in the last couple of days, there's been some pretty sad news coming out of the wheat belt with suicides. So it's another reminder to check on your mates and friends, and just pay respects to the people that make sure that we have food on our tables every day. So in light of this, I've decided to go ahead and do an agricultural site to do a live stream on today. Agriculture, it's the backbone of the economy. Unfortunately, a lot of the technology side of it gets put on the wayside. And it's so ironic because just even this little tractor here has more technology in it than most vehicles, cars, and everything does. And, farmers don't give themselves enough credit for how well they can use technology when it applies to them. So we're going to have a look at primarysales.com.au today. They don't know I'm looking at this site. Hopefully they don't mind, but look, it's all public knowledge. So I'm just going to bring the site up. As always, guys, if you have any questions, just whack them in the chat. I'm going to periodically check to see if there's any questions for me. I wonder if I can actually put this bounce this chat out for a sec. Just bear with me. Oh, no, that's not going to do it. I thought I could actually get the chat to pop out, but doesn't look like I can. So, guys, if you have any questions, just whack them in the chat. If you want to jump on, let me know, and I can bring it up so you guys can jump on and have a look. So let me just set this up here for a sec, and then we'll get cracking. So hopefully, if I just minimize that, remove my chat box, and then bring up the primary sales site, and go like that. I'm just going to check, see what it looks like on my mobile phone, and then we should be good to go. So for those who don't know, Primary Sales is a agricultural business that's been around forever, and they sell they sell all the bits and pieces that goes on these machines to make them more efficient is probably the best way to describe it. So just bear with me for a sec. I'm going to just check to see if the stream's coming up all right while we do this, because obviously I've only got one screen on this computer, and I can't check that while I'm doing that. So just bear with me. Guys, if you've got any questions, as always, please let me know, because I love answering questions, and I just minimize that. Doing that. So just bear with me. Guys, if you've got any questions, all right, cool. Please let me know. What I might do is remove the overlay as well. So just bear with me. Let's do this. Guys, if you've got any questions, all right, there we go. What I might do is remove the overlay as well. So just bear. Okay, cool. All right, so Primary Sales Australia. Just yell out, sing out if I need to zoom in too, by the way. I'm happy to do it. And yeah, just let me just bring this up for a sec. Yeah, I'm happy to do it, guys. I think this one's going to be a really good one today. I had a bit of a quick look, and I've already seen several things that could be helpful to a lot of business owners out there. So we're going to look, because what's interesting about primary sales in particular is while they sell products, they're not necessarily an e-commerce site. They actually, oh, here we go. That's what I wanted to see. Bring that up. Bring this stream up. Yeah, they're not actually an e-commerce site. They're kind of a buddy. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. Okay, we're good now. Yeah, so they're not an e-commerce site. They're for lack of a better term, they act as almost a brochure And they do direct sales, but they act as almost a brochure for the dealerships that supply their products. So with that in mind, let's have a look and frame this around. Okay, we're not here necessarily to wholesale sell the stuff, even though I'm pretty sure they will sell. That's something we'll check, but they're really here to provide the backup information and act as a brochure for the dealerships, because a lot of stuff in the wheat belt is sold through dealerships. Just naturally how it is. But what I found in the wheat belt and in agriculture is you need supply. You need to make sure the salesmen have all the ammunition they need to be able to sell your product over someone else's. And it really comes down to that. If you can make the salesman's life easier by providing them all the info they need to really do a fantastic job and really understand your product, then you're going to win. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at the first thing I like to do when I look at any business is to look at their website. So I'm on the website here. Now let's say I landed on this after typing in primary sales. So I actually have an idea what primary sales does. I may have seen the duck feed or something like that and gone, okay, I'm going to check these guys out. So I'm on the website. So you got the primary call to action up here, which is speak to us today. That's fine. That's really good. I think every business should have a top menu call to action of some sort, whether that's like to call, because on a mobile, they're going to be able to inquire and call that today. I would also have their email address up here. So I would have speak to us today or get in contact and have their email address up here as well. It could get it potentially unwieldy. So maybe you have it so that the number's here and the email address is here. I don't necessarily know about having speak to us today. I would just have like a phone icon and an email icon. People are smart enough to know that that's a phone number, right? And that's an email address. So I think that's redundant. It's just taking up space, and we could probably have the email and mobile number up here taking up less space. Now, this is a really, really good example of knowing your demographic and knowing how they use the internet. So we are talking about people that live in areas of low internet reception, right? So they're not, even their home internet is not as good as, say, what we have the luxury of having here in Perth. So we have to be conscious of that. And for that reason, we need a website that loads really, really well and really, really fast. That is actually the primary consideration here. And it needs to be good on mobile, because a lot of the decisions here are done by the guy sitting in this harvester or sitting in this tractor waiting for, the next load, or, especially tracer bins or in seeding, they're sitting there making decisions for their purchases, for their budgets, because there's two primary windows for purchasing in the wheat belt. You have the lead up to seeding and the lead up to harvest. There are two primary windows. So what the big thing is primary sales does a lot with harvest. As you can see, it's all harvest, but they do tillage. They do tillage stuff. So we need to be aware of that. So depending on how excited, how efficient these guys want to be, I would actually have like a harvest and seeding range. So I would actually swap these out. Like during the seeding period, I would make this a picture of a seeder, and during the harvest period, I would make this picture of harvest. Now, let's talk about the first thing I always see and I explore when we're on a website, and that is actually the one sec. What's going on here? Sorry, I'm just getting some weird vibes coming from me thing. The first thing we want to look at is the above the fold section of the site, which is this part here. This is the single most important part of any website. If you can't describe what you do in like sub 4 seconds, it's actually 7, but like if 7 for them to actually get a clear idea of what they want to achieve, but like in sub seconds, if they can't come in here and tell what you do and have some clear, decisive call to action, then you're toast. People will just bounce. And you hear this thing called bounce. And the bounce rate of a site is when someone comes to the site, doesn't take an action, and leaves. That's considered a bounce, because they're basically just bouncing off the site. Bounce is our enemy. You're going to have some bounce. It's inevitable, but we want to try and minimize it. So if we're looking at this top bit here, I don't necessarily mind this photo. What I would suggest we do is maybe darken it slightly, but this is a terrible contrast. You got this white writing on the top of a white picture. it's almost impossible to read. And from a usability perspective, that's really going to hurt us, because ultimately the aim of the game is to get these guys to either inquire with us, and so we can sell them stuff, right? Let's take away all the niceties aside. It's about getting them to buy. So this really needs, I don't mind the actual title, helping grain growers increase in efficiency and profitability of their operations. But we need that needs to be smaller. And that's like almost a subheading. And then we need a heading here that's like, quality harvest parts, quality harvest suppliers of harvest parts for over X years. That's what I would have, something like that, quality and I would change that for seeding. It's got quality seeding equipment or parts for over, servicing the wheat belt for over so many years. Make it very, very clear. Like, I hate things like this where it's like, it's so airy-fairy. The farmers are there to achieve one thing, and that is to achieve a goal. So if our goal is to supply them harvest parts, well, let's make that abundantly clear. But we're going to talk about the intangibles, the quality, the time we've been doing it, which adds to the social proof, things like that. That's what we want to have on there. So it's like, supplying, or keeping farmers, improving farmers' efficiency for over X amount of years, or supplying quality harvest parts. That's what I would have here, or, reliability, same day delivery, something like that, something that creates an emotional response to the words. At the moment, this is just something that someone would skip over, because it's so like, it's what like Rabobank would have on their site. It's some like what a bank would actually have, not someone of actual that actually knows the industry well. So, everyone has this. Let's clean this up and make it something like that. Now, the big thing that's not on this top part is a call to action. Now, we need to make sure that it's abundantly clear what we want the person coming to this site to do. So, like when they're on this site and they get to this first bit, let's make my screen smaller potentially. So they're seeing this bit. Like I said, this is the most valuable piece of real estate on the site. What am I supposed to do? I've got these up here, but like, what am I supposed to do? That, we need to make it very abundantly clear what we want the person that's coming to this site to do. So we need a big button here that says, check out our harvest range, or, increase your yields today, or something that like abundantly is tangibly tied to the benefit of what we're trying to achieve for the farmer, which you're saying is increase your efficiency and profitability. So it might be check out our harvest range today, or increase your profitability today. And that would actually go to our harvest range. So we don't necessarily need it to go to a contact page. It's always seems to be the thing that everyone gets sent to. But in this case, I would actually get this to go to our harvest range. So, like we got our product ranges here, and we got our individual products. But I would actually like I said, get these to go to like a range of products around harvest, which is where all these things would be. Because, there's actually no use having this on the site and this on the homepage when it's harvest, because they're not going to look at it. It's just taking up real estate. All right, so we just got Tom here. I'm just going to quickly answer Tom's question. So Tom asked, what if someone is going to the site just to get your number and then leave? Well, you make our primary call to action the contact page. That happens a lot, but the problem you can run into is you can basically create a glorified business card that doesn't talk to any of the intangibles. So like in your case, Tom, with the being an IT company, yeah, a lot of people are just getting your number and leaving, but we kind of want to guide them down a path that shows some of the value of what we offer before they do that. And I'll use my website as an example, because I'm in the same sort of space. Everyone that comes to my site is looking for information. So you can see here, we're doing a rebuild of our site. So just ignore the way it looks, but let us become the secret weapon of your business. Jimmy and his team are focused on one account, helping businesses like yourself stay ahead of the competition in the digital age. So if someone wants to just get my number, they can just go straight here, get my number. But if they want to learn more about us, they won't click that. And then we just start to guide them to the parts of the site where they can make a decision. So in your case, Tom, where you don't necessarily have your like primary thing is they call you up and talk to you today. We just need to make sure that if they're not, we need to have it so they can click on that. So I'd make yours a contact us button, but then talk about a bit more about what you do below that. All right, let's continue having a look at primary sales, guys. Like Tom just did, if you have any questions, just let me know. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Now that didn't come up in my feed for some reason, so let me just fix this while we're cracking on. So why is that not doing enter studio? There we go. I should be able to see your questions now without having to scroll back. So sorry about that, Tom, if I didn't answer your question in time. But again, call to action. So in this case, view harvest range. That's what I would have as my primary call to action. Or contact us today, but I wouldn't make it contact us today. I would be like, talk to the team today. I would try and make it having a little bit of an emotional response because that's actually really important to make sure you do. There we go. I should be able to see your questions as they come in now. So just whack your questions in if you want them answered by me. Okay, so if I just turn that sound down. Excellent. Oh, there we go. Nope. One sec, guys. Is that better? Nope. There we go. No. Oh, rip. That's not going to work. God, I hate technology. Okay, I'm just going to leave then. Okay, I'll just have to periodically check back. Okay, so notwithstanding that, we go straight into products. Knife guards, bushel plus, duck foot, finger extensions, flex fit croplet, vibromat. Okay, so like this, there's the first thing I would highly suggest is we need a break between these images. It's a very, very aggressive image-wise, which is obviously going to hurt considering our demographic is low internet. But we also need to talk about what we can do. Not everyone knows what primary sales does. So we need an about section just here. Like our first thing, if they're not ready to engage with us straight away, is we need to tell them about us and what we do. So this would be like a section. You would have an image on this side potentially, and you would have content on this side and be like, you know, primary sales has been agriculture's number one supplier of X, Y, and Z, you know, harvest-based or, you know, efficiency-based products for over 50 years. Our team have specialized, blah, 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 blah. And then that links to the About Us page because you think, right, like if they're not ready to make a decision right now, they probably need to do some diligence. And then I would then lead in with some products, you know. I would definitely change how this is done. Because it takes up way too much room. And so like the reason I would change the way this is done to make it so it doesn't take up as much room is that like, if I don't need knife guards, bushel plus or duck foot, there's a good chance I'm going to bounce if the thing I need is a Typhoon feed drum or the Hay Express or a chaff deck, because it's too broad and it takes up too much room. You just assume that maybe there's nothing else unless you scroll. So I would actually change this to like harvest solutions. So like check out, you know, it would be like our products, and I would like have harvest solutions, seeding solutions, and you know, others or whatever. I would try and simplify that. So we just had 3, and I would make it like, yeah, seed, harvest solutions, seeding, and then let people click one level in, because a lot of this stuff is either harvest or seeding. So they'll be able to pick where they want to go. And once they're in there, then we can start to hit them with the bigger, you know, the bigger images that sort of walk through the product ranges a little bit more. But yeah, it's quite aggressive. And it's very, very disorientating for someone potentially, right? So we need to be conscious of that. So I would have this as like, what I might do quickly is, so no, I don't know if we're going to do that. So I would have the heading, this above the fold. I would have that very, very abundantly clear what we do with benefits in it to create an emotional response. I'll have one clear call to action, which is like increase your profitability during harvest today, and a button. Here, I would have an about section, probably the same size, but just an about section. I'd have one big picture of the team. team shot or team out in the field, and I'll go, Primary Sales Australia has been Australia's #1 supplier, blah, 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 over 50 years. Our industry leading support and knowledge helps farmers get back, improve their efficiency in products. Learn more about us. And then I would have learn more about primary sales as a button on that section. Then the section below would be my services, and I would my products, and I would go, I would have a heading called like our leading range of productivity improvements or leading range of productivity products. And then I would have like, seeding or for seeding, for harvest, and for hay, and and I would get rid of this resources section, piss that off, you don't need it. And I would just slip this to 3. And then I would create sub pages which had all our harvest products in it. And I'll probably display them slightly differently, so there wasn't 3 to a thing. I would actually probably display them so that it was like product as a image like this, and then description of the product description. So it's like left, right, left, right. Because the problem you run into when it's like this is that, let's say we get another product to the range, which is what we've been doing, you'll eventually just have a feed of like 20 products in here. We need to have them so like we can break these up into their sections. That's the main reason I suggest we do that. View brochures, that's fine, but between the like this section and whatever the next section is, I would have social proof. So I'd be like trusted by farmers and dealerships across the world, and I would have social proof in there. I'd have like the brand logos of all the, because what you want the farmers to do is recognize brands that they know. So I'd have a picture of Boakman's logo, Farmer Center logo, Afbury's logo, some international brands in there as well. Then I would have another section that could be that reinforces the workmanship and the quality and stuff like that. So it might be like our quality guarantee or something like that, or our customer support is #1. Talk about that. So it'd be the same as the section that's just here. And then I would have quality section. You know what? I'm going to do this. Why not? I'm going to build a wireframe in real time, because this one's so far off kilter to how it needs to look. I'm just going to quickly build a wireframe. It might be easier to articulate what it looks like. So any website designer worth their salt will build a wireframe before they start, because you got to kind of know what the website's going to look like. So we're going to call this primary sales, and it's going to be very rough, but I'm doing this in real time, right? So I'm going to put a window in here. So this tool is called Whimsical, if anyone wants to play around with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy our header, because that's going to be pretty much the same, but we're going to, like I said, we're going to remove our menu here. So I'm going to go in here, copy our header in. So I don't necessarily mind these yet. I haven't really had a good look, but we're going to so we're going to put this in here, minimize it, shrink it down. Okay, so it's going to be something like that, right? That's our header. And then, like I said, we wanted to get rid of that, and we wanted to put our email address in there. So we need to block that out, go like that, just cover that over, right? So it would just be your number with like a little telephone icon, which I don't know if we have a telephone icon here. Icon. So I don't think we have one, but like I would put a telephone icon in there, and I would also put our mobile email address in there. So primary sales email, something like that, right? So that would go in the top and be like that. So, and then I would put icons next to them so that people knew. So our first section is going to be the above the fold, which is going to be a big image. So sorry, I don't, tell me guys if you don't want me to go through this part of it. But so I'd have, and I'll stop, right? So we'd have our hero image. It's going to be, so about 700, we're looking at about 700 here, because that's about 500 to 700 mil. And then we're going to have a really big header. And I think the header's in here. No, okay. So we're going to have our header, which is going to be XXL. It's going to be, quality harvest products, support, suppliers of quality harvest products for over X years. Then I would have a little section underneath that, that's smaller text, just so so we need to make a new text. Again, this is very rough and dirty, folks. If I would normally put a lot more time into this, but for brevity, so that the back of behind that would be an image, and then what we would do is put in a smaller box, and that would have this. Doesn't necessarily matter what that is, but it's very important to have from an SEO standpoint. So that would be underneath like that. It will center it, so it's like whatever, something like that. And then we'd have a big old button here like this, solid button, something like that. We'll make it bigger. And this would be view our harvest product. Something like that, right? That's what it needs to, that's kind of what it needs to look like. At the moment, you can see the difference that would make. We're guiding them to make a decision. So guys, as always, ask questions if you need to. We're guiding them to make a decision here. Then our first section is going to look like, now I'm just going to extend this out just so got some more room to play with, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. Something like that, right? Our first section is going to be a box, clear box, and we'll make it sort of half the width. We'll make it 400. And this is going to be a photo of the team. People read left to right, so that has to come into our play here. So half the screen, I would say actually even a third potentially, depending on how much content we have, but that's going to be a picture of the team. So I'm just going to make a note here, picture of team, like that, right? So I would actually get a professional shot of the team, and this is going to be a text box. Now, I believe, where is it? Laura Gibson text area. Nope, that's not it. So this is going to be a text area. And nope, that's not it. We need this one, Laura. So that's going to be a text area like that, right? And then we're going to have a button here that's going to be like, learn more about us. Now you need to, because you got to remember, right? If they're not going to make a decision here to go straight to our harvest range, then we need to guide them to make a decision further down. So they probably want to learn more about us. So learn more about us, right? Cool. So from here, we want to have our next box heading, and we want to make it a title, and we're going to go, our quality product range. I mean, these are working titles, right? But the idea is that this is what's going to delineate our products. And then this is where the bit I was trying to explain with the video before is I would have 3 images here. I would have it something like this. Again, this is very much a work in progress. Something like that, right? And I would have harvest solutions, seeding solutions, and normally I wouldn't get caught up this far into the weeds with the website, but I think in this case it warrants it. View our range, something like that, right? So the idea is so the website at the moment, it's got all these products. The problem you run into is that if it's not in this first 3, you're going to there's a good chance you're going to click away from the site. But also, at what point do you stop? You end up with a website that's a million miles long because you keep adding products to it. So I'd have it like that, and I'd probably have underneath bit of text, bit of lorem in there, just talking about it. Lorem, there it is. I'd probably have just a little bit of text here, something like this, that, and then a button. I'll be like, And then you could containerize these. Again, that's not, like I said, this is pretty rough, but like something like this, right? Like that. And like this. Oh, actually, copy this. Something like that. And then like that. So we're basically guiding them to a decision. Now, you should only really have one clear direction, but at this point, they're trying to work out where they need to go. So I would have something like that, right? And then from there, I would go to the next section. I would make the next section either, actually, you know what we would do? We would make the next section. No, we're going to stick to our guns here. So we're going to have what's called an interrupt for social proof reasons, which will be another box here, probably this width, like this. And this would be probably another color, trusted by farmers and dealers across the world. And this would be a carousel. Let's make that bigger. And that would have images in it. So guys, like I said, if this is not something you like, let me know. But I am going to assume that these would be logos of like different dealerships, recognizable brands. And then I would have a section here that's like, I'm just going to copy this whole section. I would have a section here that's like the opposite of what was above. So this would be like this here. Come on. Where are we? Come on. What's going on here? I need to make my my window bigger. There we go. So I would make this slightly bigger. And I would have this opposite. So, I just like doing this. Not everyone's got different opinions on this, but this is going to be like benefits. Quality. Check out our resources guide. You kind of want to create a bunch of links that link to the internal parts of the pages. So this would be about quality, and like the quality of workmanship and stuff like that. Then here I'd probably have a testimonial section here. So I would have something like this. I would have a little testimonial section here. We can nick this off. And this would be from one farmer or a dealership. And that would link to our reviews. So it'd be something like that, reviews, like that. And then I would have a circular avatar, something like that, just to break it up a bit. So that would be a review. And then I would have a big old footer with all our details, like ready to make it. So this would be one big image with an overlay over the top, a bit like the top. And this would be like, ready to increase your bottom line, something like that. And it would have our details in it. So if someone just scrolls all the way to the bottom, they can make a decision, and that would be like, get in contact with us today. Something like that, right? And that was very quick and dirty. Obviously, you couldn't use this to build, but and then I would have the footer section. So under this, actually, you know what? I would have it almost like this. This is probably a better fit for this circumstance. Agri finance. I would have it. I'm just going to copy a section of this and put it into the bottom. I would have it like this, something like this. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, obviously, but we have some people are just trying to find where to pick up parts, right? So it'd be something like that. And that would improve conversion rates significantly if we did this. I'd have something like that at the bottom, right? So that's what I believe the website should look like to flow properly. So let's compare that. So we're up to this point, brochures, okay, that's important. And then we just have this. No social proof, no nothing. This would be hurting us. And obviously, like you were saying, a lot of it's to do with the fact that this is used to help dealerships point people in the right direction. But there's no reason why we can't generate a lot of business by doing it this way. And then we're going to look at, I'm going to click one of these for a sec. First thing is this photo's, oh God, this photo is pixelated. You know, this will be hurting us. And we're representing a brand here. We should be asking our brand to provide us a high quality image. And if I go on their website, I'm sure they would have something like this. Let's have a look. Well, see, we rank number 1 for that, which is really good. When it loads. But again, we should be using call to action. So this should be like, you know, Bushel Plus, you know, Australia's favorite, you know, grain tracking, you know, like optimization system. And then this here, we can just follow the same way we built this, because this one's not too bad. But like, see how we got like YouTube video here. Well, that's an image. I know that goes to a YouTube video here. And then like, this isn't too bad. It's a bit janky. It's not like lined up properly. This is good. This is good. And then we just got like these images here and this, everything going everywhere. It's just way too hard to keep up with what's actually happening. This needs to be laid out more logically, as do all of our products. You know, like, let's have a look at something here. We followed the same thing, you know, like we can carry this, but like, let's have a look at this precision cedar tine. Yep, big old photo, brochure, and an information form. There's just like no thought to put into how we're going to convert these people into making decisions. It's something I see a lot, and it will be hurting ourselves. And you know, look, obviously the dealerships do a lot of the heavy lifting, but you know, primary sales, you guys have competitors. You know, it's Harvest Air and others. You know, someone comes in here and can't find the decision or doesn't know what to do or can't follow the flow, they're going to go to your competitor. So that's the website in a nutshell. I think the big cliff notes is like, if you created a design that flowed properly, you could just carry that through the whole site, page by page, put a lot of the content in there, and you would be doing your product ranges a better service and your dealerships a better service. So like our Bushel Plus page really should have a resources section that which is probably this. A resources section that the salesman can use to provide the information. So the idea is you want the salesman to go on the primary sales website and look up Bushel Plus, and it does the sales for them. If you do that, then the salesman will sell what you have. So that's a very important potential improvement there. Now let's have a look at the SEO quickly. Obviously we're running out of time here, but I'm just going to quickly bring up the chat to see if there's any questions in the meantime. Okay, Chelsea. Chelsea, hi Jimmy, do you want sushi for lunch? No, I'm fine, thank you. I should be okay. But thank you for tuning in, regardless, Chelsea. So yeah, we're just gonna have a look at the SEO quickly here. So I'm just gonna log in, and I'm gonna look to see how we're doing organically in search, because surprisingly, I have a lot of industry knowledge in this, obviously, having the background I do. And I think a lot of what people in agriculture don't understand is that farmers are very, very smart people, and they make a lot of decisions based on research. And you know, that research used to be walking into a dealership back in the day and talking to a dealer, but a lot of that's actually done online now. You've got a lot of farmers' sons coming home in their 20s and 30s, and they're making key decisions. And some of the first decisions you know, a dad will let their son do is like deciding on a Bushel Plus or a seed terminator or a chaff deck or something like that, because it's like low cost and it gets them into the mood. And they're not going to want to risk their chances of making decisions in the future by picking the wrong things. So they're going to be on forums, they're going to be on Twitter, they're going to be everywhere looking for information to make the right decision. So we need to make sure that we're present, not from a commercial standpoint. Like ranking number 1 for Bushel Plus is really important, but actually we need to be providing information that helps them decide between different options. So I'd be like doing an article on reviews on the differences between differences of all these systems, or how to an article on how to improve your performance during harvest. And then we can talk about our duck feed and things like that. So I want to see where we sit relative to that sort of mindset, because you've got to remember, like any search result, you have commercial searches and non-commercial searches. And a commercial search, I'm just going to go back to me for a sec. A commercial search is any search that the next action is some kind of commercial intent. That's my opinion. So like, for instance, if someone searches bushel plus, there's a good chance the next thing they're going to do is call you up about a bushel plus. But actually, that's only a very, very small part of the search funnel is commercial, because there's so much search before that is that people do before to make a decision, and one of them may be bushel plus reviews. That's a non-commercial search because they're not ready to make a decision yet. It might be like best way, or how do you measure moisture content? Not moisture content. How do you measure header loss? It's not. They're not going to make a decision right now, but if you provide that information and it ticks their boxes and they get a good experience from it, then you control the narrative. You can guide them to one of our products that helps them make a decision. So just keep that in the back of your mind when we're looking at this information. So I'm just going to go back to our thing here and have a look at where we rank. So you can see our rankings held quite steady over the years. So what we're looking at here is this is traffic. This is keywords, the amount of keywords we rank for, and this is the volume of the value of that traffic. So you can see here we rank for a lot of keywords, 500 or so. And if we have a look at what those keywords are, we can see if they're what kind of value they are. So yeah, Coulter's drives a lot of traffic, but we actually rank 8 for that. So let's have a look at Coulter's for a sec. So for anyone that doesn't know, a coulter is a blade that you put on the front of a cedar bar that actually cuts the stubble in front of it so that you can see plan through it. So you can see here we rank like 5th, 6th for that, but there's actually a lot of people searching for that, so we could improve the ranking there. But what we're trying to determine is if what our majority of search is actually made of. So that's commercial, 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 commercial. There's a huge amount of potential here to rank for non-commercial searches. Now let's have a look at the articles that they have and see if so we're going to go to resources. We're going to have a look at the product blog post here. And okay, so it's all just news coming up. There's no actual content that provides tangible value to someone doing research or diligence. So I would highly suggest that would be a play of the day here. So when you're building the website, you would create more content so that you rank for these commercial searches, and then do link building to help increase its presence. So that's SEO. And then I would also be writing content that has non-commercial intent to help guide people to a decision. That would be the other bit I'm doing here. So the other thing I'm going to look at is their link profile. So if we just look at backlinks, referring domains. So a backlink is basically where a website links back to us. So so like if say the Department of Agriculture says primary sales, and you click that and it goes back to us, that's what's technically a backlink. Now, backlinks kind of act as Google's way of determining trust. So the same way, if you walk into a pub and someone asks you if you know a good roofer, and you go, oh look, yeah, I know a good roofer. His name's John. This is where he's located. That's kind of the same way backlinks work. Now, in the same breath, not all backlinks are created equal. The same way that pub analogy works. Like if I'm a retired roofer and I've been roofing for 30 years, and I go, you ask me, oh, do I know any roofers? And I go, mate, talk to John. He's the best roofer. Because I was a roofer and I have topical and contextual relevance, you're going to trust my opinion way more than just some random bloke you meet at the pub that you don't know his background or whatever. Backlinks are the same. There's backlinks that are good, and there's backlinks that aren't as good. And the good backlinks are what called topically and contextually relevant. So, like for instance, if we were a music site, right? Let's say we're perthmusic.com.au, and let's say the Rolling Stone magazine, Google decides that that is the most trustworthy and authoritative site on the internet when it comes to music, and assigns it a trust score of 100. Um, if rollingstone.com went, oh, if you're ever in Perth and need musical equipment, check out perthmusicstore.com.au, you would just outrank everyone, because from a topical relevance standpoint, Google goes, I explicitly trust that website, and they're saying you're really good. I'm going to pass on some of that trust to you. And all the internet's connected by 6 degrees of separation. So what we're looking at here is we're determining if we got some bad houses in our neighborhood, basically. So that's a good link. There's some good links here. So what we're looking for is ones that aren't that good. So nothing really standing out at the minute. Agricool, the ag shop. We're very lucky. There's a huge amount of potential here. This is amazing. So we have a very, very clean profile of companies that do what we do. That one's a bit dodgy. There's a couple of dodgy ones there I would actually remove, but most of these are really, really good. So we have a fantastic base to build a really, really robust campaign off, and that would actually lead to tangible sales. Same with running Google ads on our key words. So like another thing we can do to jump on the top of here is actually run Google ads for our cultures, which would actually put them up here. So if I was to type in Plumbers Mandurah, for those who don't know the difference, Plumbers Mandurah, you can see, and no question, so that's good. If you would have probably noticed it, or maybe not, you see this here, it's got ad written here. That's actually someone paid to be on the top position. So we can actually pay to get ourselves right here. So when someone types in like cedar bars sale, say for instance, someone types in cedar bars for sale, we can actually pay to be in this top spot because of our bar. So that's something to consider as well. Now, the last thing I want to look at, so like in this case, I think a very robust search engine optimization campaign, so new content on the site, a better structure and a better user experience, and then non-commercial content to capture people further up the funnel and to create authority is a play of the day there. I also think running Google ads for our keywords that are more competitive, that will take time for the SEO to rank in those, it would be good as well. And I think what could also work really well is having more authority in social media. Now, I haven't actually looked at our social media accounts, but I'm just going to have a look at here at Facebook and just see how we're doing it. Sales. So I'm going to like his. All right, so we've got a post here. That's really good. That's more power to you. You guys might be on top of the social media. Wow. Okay. It's all Bushel Plus stuff. I know it's Typhoon Feed Drum. Okay, you obviously have someone doing the social media within the business. Well done. Well bloody done. You are one of the first agricultural companies that I've seen that's doing the social media side really well. It's not just all commercial intent. There's non-commercial intent in there. There's informational content. Well done. There's nothing you need to really do here. I'm looking at these posts and they're all about providing information. They're not about selling. They're just about providing there. You got Big Beetle here. Good to see. Well done. Well done. You guys have done an amazing job. This is a really, really good example of a social media account. I have a feeling someone's doing this for you because, like I said, this isn't the first time. This is one of the first times I've seen where it's done like better than. Okay, cool. Arguably, it's good, if not better than what I would have done. But it's fantastic. So I really, I'm chuffed. Actually, you've done an amazing job. How good. That's made my day to see. So yeah, credit to whoever's doing your social media accounts because they're doing an amazing job. So yeah, I think I'll leave this here. Let me just close this down for a sec, guys. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. It's been a while since I've done a deep dive, but hopefully you guys find some value in that. And yeah, hopefully primary sales takes a little bit of this on board, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an agricultural company. I think it's important to just know your demographic, know how they move through the internet, and actually try and define what you actually want them to do. If you want them to contact us like Tom does, well, then that becomes our primary call to action. And we just have to work out ways that if they don't click that first button, what things are they trying to find out before they do? And a lot of times they're trying to find out more about you before they take, you're asking a lot from someone to commit to contacting you when they know nothing about you. So just be aware of that. Sometimes you got to ease them in. You got to tuck in the teddy. You got to take them out to dinner and tuck in the teddy before you go and try and get them to commit to engaging with to contacting you. So just something to be aware of. And if it's a more transactional based industry like a plumber, it's less of an issue. But more relationship based stuff, client based stuff, it's very important. So guys, really enjoyed that. I have to go now. Let me know if I can be of help to any of you, and I'll be in next week to do the same thing. So if you have a website you want me to look at, let me know and I'll have a look. Thanks once again, guys. It was really fun to do this. I'm chuffed to see their social medias cranking. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you next week.